Right, what I've done, I've cut the plug off the end of that cable, like I said I was going to earlier, and I've taped the wiring on off the grip. So what I'm going to do now is I'll feed that. Obviously, that I can push that so far, as you can see, but I'm going to feed it through whilst pulling on the other end, which is here, that's coming out the other end of the bar. So just, you can see there, it's just pulling itself through. It looks like, just typical when I'm going to start, looks like I'm going to get a delivery. Right, I'm just going to stop the video a minute because there's a delivery man turned up. I'll be back in a sec. Right, back. Continue feeding this cable through. Very careful because it will get caught on certain parts of the inside. It just takes a bit of tugging about. And that's it through at the other side. So I'll just carry on pulling that and just get that grip so far on. Right, and what I'll do is I'll just pull this up here, loosen that off a touch. As you can see there, I know this isn't brilliant video work, but that's the other end of the wiring. That's the other end of the wiring through the bar. So I'll just get that back onto there. Right, I'm just going to knock you off a second. I'll move this camera into a better position. I'll be back in a minute. Right, this is the other end of the wire that I've just fed through. I've took off the guide wire that I pulled it through with. What I'm going to do, this is just temporary. I'm going to plug the grip in, and then I'm just going to give that a waggle, push that up the bar. The other end, which is still on. Now before I fit all this properly, I've learned in the past, I have actually fitted a brand new set straight out of the box unopened, fitted the kit, and it didn't work. So I've learnt my lesson there, and what I do is I'll wire this in, like I'll take the seat off, wire these wires into where they're meant to go, temporary, fire the bike up and make sure that the grips heat. Once I'm happy that the grips are going to get warm, obviously I'll knock it off. Then it's a case of lift the tank, feed the wires through properly, etc. But I'm not arsing around feeding all this lot through underneath the tank and down into under the seat and all that to find out it doesn't work. So I'll always wire this in first to check. So what I'll do is I'll knock you off, and then I'll take the seat off, and when we come back I'll have the camera down there and we'll get all this wired in, just as a temporary measure, not properly wired in, just wires fitted where they need to go, but as a temporary thing, just to test that these are actually going to work. As I say, I have had a set in the past that didn't work, so ever since then I always wire them in before, as in just connect the wires up before I feed all the wiring in properly so it's in its permanent place. So I'll knock you off again, temporary, and I'll come back in a couple of minutes. Right, we're back. Now I've actually wired this in, and it's not permanent, it's temporary, but I thought rather than bringing it on and showing you, oh, I'm going to put a wire here and I'm going to put a wire there, well, you know, I'd just do it and then tell you what I've done. Now also I fitted the wire in, fired the bike up and made sure that the grips were going to work, like get hot, and they have. So what I'll do now is just talk you through what I've done here. I'll just loosen this off a bit. Right, on the wiring for the grips, zoom in a touch. Now what you see in there, this here is basically the battery. You can just see there, that's the battery. So the earth lead off the wiring I've just temporarily bolted to the earth. The live I've temporarily bolted to the live. The live has a inline fuse in it. Now the other wire, because it's 3 wires, is a switched live, which I've just temporarily, there we go, just temporarily used a Scotch lock to fit it onto a switched live, which on the switchback, the switched live accessory wire is basically red and orange. On my wiring, as you see there, it's red and orange and white. For the also what I've done here is I've just put a temporary, it's basically just a wire block, but I've put a fuse in it, and that fuse will be used when I put this wire in properly. I'll be putting a proper inline fuse holder, like similar to that, so it'll have that fuse in it. Now I'll just zoom back out. Now basically what the inline fuse is for on that one is just to obviously reduce the power. It's only a 2 amp fuse. Now what the wire's for, it's almost like a relay on spotlights, for instance. You have your main power going into your relay, and you have your earths, etc., and then you have the wire that goes to the relay, so that when you flick the switch, it flicks the relay to power the lights. Obviously these aren't lights, they're heated grips, but the principle's the same. When I switch the ignition on, that switch, that wire becomes live, which then triggers something up in the handlebar part that tells it that it can actually switch on and start drawing power from the main live into the bars, into the grips, sorry, which then allows them to heat up. Now basically it's sort of like you need the switched live so that they switch off when you switch your bike off. If you didn't do that and you forgot that your grips were on, come back to it next day, dead battery. Simple as that. So that's all the 3 wires are for. But also, I'll show you something else as well, if I can pick it up. This is a brand new kit. I mean, you don't get all this sort of stuff in the brand new kit. This is just me doing my bod job. But you get different wires, different parts for going into fuse boxes, etc. But what I want to say is, I bought this kit and I got a good deal on it. Genuine Harley Davidson, as you've already shown with the instructions, etc. It's off an older bike, hence the wiring colours are different, and it comes with these different wires to like different types of fuse boxes depending on what you use, and that one I think goes onto the touring, which is, if I remember rightly, is what I used on my own. Then that one, if it's on a soft tail or a dyno, I think soft tail uses one side to go into the fuse box, and that one goes into the other side for the fuse box on a different model, if you know what I mean. Whereas, because this is different and the fuse box is different, etc., you're wiring it in slightly different, but you're still wiring it in properly. Now this plug here, it's I've split the outer casing, but I'll be putting some new stuff on it. What we've got in there is 6 wires. There's data link and all sorts in there, but you've got the red and orange, which I've already pointed out. That's your switched live. Now the one next to it, just here, if I can get my fingers out of the way for you to see, that one, I'll just zoom in a touch. Yeah, the one next to it, which actually is red and purple, I know you maybe can't see it there if I can't twist it around. There, you can just see, get that out of the way, just see it's like red and purple, that wire, that's your live, that's a 12 volt live from your battery. So that's permanent live, that's a switched live, and on the other side you've got the black, which obviously is an earth. So all three wires I need for this are all here in that plug. Now you can actually buy, I'm just going to zoom out a touch, you can actually buy a plug that goes in the end of there, comes up, gives you that end again, but in between it's got plugs that come out, so you've got your battery plus, negative, and your switched live. But I'm just going to splice into these, do it properly, not using Scotch blocks, that was just a temporary thing so I could test it, but I'm going to use the proper technique in there. I'll join it all up properly and use heat shrink and keep that cap over the end. But I just thought I'd show you just what I've done temporary just to test it. As I say, that's just a connector block with the fuse in it. I've got a new inline fuse holder that will go in here and come out for the main wiring to plug into. But now I've tested it, I'll undo all this wiring, undo it off the battery, but then I'll lift the tank. I won't remove the tank, I'll just lift it and feed the wiring through so it's coming out. If I just zoom back out, loosen this back off, you can see there's no wires coming down here, that one's just me. The wiring actually comes from underneath. If I move all that lot and zoom in again, the wiring comes down in here. There's a lump of wire there, so you've got to feed it from underneath through into, so I'll bring it all through there and then connect it all up, and it'll be, zoom out, so I'll lift the tank, connect all the handlebars up properly, so I'll be probably doing that first, but then I'll lift the tank, feed the wiring down through the thing into here, connect it all up properly via this, the wiring in behind this, and then that'll be that done and dusted. So, forgot to tighten the clamp up. So for now I'll knock you off, I'll undo this wiring so it's all out of the way. That, by the way, that you see flopping about, that's actually your antenna for your proximity alarm for the fob. That just, I'll put that back on properly when I'm done. But yeah, for now I'm going to take all this wiring back off and we'll start putting all the handlebars and stuff together. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay. Right, just another quick thing I'd like to point out. I've just took all wiring off that I had on. You can see there where the Scotch block was on. Scotch lock, whatever you want to call them. My battery has it's an Optimate that I have on all my bikes. That's always plugged in. Any bike with an alarm on, always have it on an Optimate or some sort of trickle charger that keep battery maintenance charger, should I say. But when you come to start it up, like what I did for my testing, always remove it, because you just damage your charger otherwise. So I just thought I'd point that out if anyone saw that plugged in, some eagle-eyed person saw that plugged in, and I'm saying I've started it up, just to let you know I did unplug that before I started the bike up. So, but also those that didn't know, don't start a bike with your charger plugged in, because you can damage them. Okay, back soon. Right, I'm going to put these cables and stuff back together on this end. I'm going to put all the handlebar stuff back together as far as I can, because obviously I'm still waiting for a switch cover to turn up for that other side. But new chrome housing, I've already fitted the what do we call it, the throttle lock whatever you want to call it, adjuster. Basically, it's, as I've explained once, you can tighten it up and you can lock your thing on so it's almost like a cruise control. I've already fitted that in the new housing. But what I need to do is put the cables, throttle cables, back in. Now, not a lot of people realise, and some will realise, you've got two different sizes on your throttle cables. You've got a small one, which is your return, and a thicker one, which is not the cables themselves, by the way. This is the outer cable. The thicker one, which is your pull for your throttle. Now, obviously, on the bottom of your thing, you've got a big hole and a little hole. So it's pretty self-explanatory that the pull goes in that one, and then when it's on, that's the return. Now the pull, if you look, is in there, in that back side, which is, you pull your throttle that way. So it makes sense as to where it is. So you just push that into place. Same sort of thing as when you took it off. Keep that in view. Just sort of give it a waggle to close the, get this in a more comfortable position, then, and it just clips in, and that's it, won't come out. So same with t'other. Let's get this in, just make sure I get this the right way around, so that it's looks right on its where it feeds in for the cables, and I haven't. It wants to come around that way. That's better. Yeah, just make sure further down here you don't get the cables wrapped around like in a twist, if you know what I mean. Right, so again, just push it in, get it in a position where you're comfortable, and just waggle it, and you've got like a little seat clip that goes around the top of the outer sheath, which it's sort of the C-clip shaped obviously like that, hence the name C-clip, and what it does is it compresses ever so slightly so it goes in the hole and then springs back out, and that's what holds your cables in. So right, I'll just knock you off a second, see who this is. Right, back to it. No. Right, so what I need to do now is I'll just pull that on there a bit. What I need to do is get my switches back inside, so I'll take the screws out of here. Just scopped one of the chrome washers on the floor. Ratch that out in a minute. Come here. Right, I'll just quickly see if I can find that washer. There it is. Right, just need to find my switch retaining plate. There it is. And then make sure I turn that the right way so I don't twist the cables. And then I can basically put my switches back in. Now, this one, well, you can see that one goes in first because it's your brake light switch which goes in there. So I'll just feed that one in. Come on. sure you don't trap your wires, and then you get your get that to go in the right way. The inner clamp, which isn't playing ball at the minute. It'll be a little bit tricky this. Just twig what's going on. Wiring wrong. Well, I'll just grab my screwdriver. There's a little groove right inside, and the wiring for the brake light switch just slips down the inside of the groove. Which allows bugger. Right, let's take this switch out and start again. Come on, you ass. Just an error of my way there. Before I put the switch in, I should have fed the wiring down through there. What I'll do is I'll show you if I can. Right, in here, brake light switch goes in the back of here, and this here where the screw fastens onto, just at the side of it, you can see there the screwdriver just goes straight up and down. Need to feed the wiring into that, then put the switch in place. And I do believe it has just started snowing outside. Awesome. Not. Right, that's the wiring fed down. Push the switch into place. That's it. Then feed your switches down so they're sitting in where they're meant to be. Put wire through, and then get your clamp. I say a clamp, it's not a clamp, it's just a guy, just stops the wire coming back up, but it also holds the switches in place properly. So that's gone straight on this time. So now I just need to get my screws and my screwdriver. Get the washer in place and feed it down into the hole, and then just screw that into place, and that washer's wrong size. And looking at the screws that came off, there wasn't any washers on. So what I'll do is I'll put that one in that side. Oh, you ass. Come on.